I wanted to talk about the difference between why we always say Zecher L'Yetzias Mitzrayim, whereas Zecher L'Maaseh Bereishis, which obviously was also coming only from a Kadosh Baruch Hu, that we only say on Shabbos. Mashe'en Kei Zecher L'Yetzias Mitzrayim, we say 3 times a day, and every time we say Kriya Shema. Why is Zecher L'Yetzias Mitzrayim so much more important? So we know when the Ribono Shel Olam created the world, so he created it in a way that we be'etzem have no understanding of it, because one of the things that he created along with the world itself came Shlitas Hazman, time. I'm just giving that as a mashal, time and place. These are things that were created with this world. And anything that's created with time and place is Hay Alma, is our world. And that's something we cannot imagine. It doesn't reach our understanding how it should work. How can the world exist without the concept of time and place? It doesn't exist in our brains. So therefore, Zecher L'Yetzias Mitzrayim is not something that we can comprehend. It doesn't make any sense to us. So therefore, we say it, and part of the other thing is really related to this word of HaChodesh Hazeh Lachem Rosh Chodashim, that months was the first thing that was created exclusively for Yidden. If you look in the world, you'll see that seconds, minutes, hours, days, weeks are all universal in the whole world. Wherever it's Monday here, it's Monday in every place in the whole world. Nobody disputes it. Nobody has another religion saying otherwise. And the same thing with minutes. And same thing with hours. Said this, you said it a few times already. But once you come to months, so then already things split. In the Goyish calendar, there's January, February. In the Yiddish calendar, there's Nisan, Iyar, Sivan, Tishrei, Cheshvan. It has its own. And we go with a lunar calendar, we don't go with a sun calendar. And the other religions also, let's say like the Muslims, also have a lunar calendar, but they don't make a Ibiyah every 3 years, because we lose 11 days a year, because there's 354 days in a lunar year, and there's 365 days in a solar year, so you lose 7 days a year. So in order to keep things in the proper seasons, you have to make a leap year once every 3 years, which is about 30 days. So it's exclusive HaChodesh Hazeh Lachem Rosh Chodashim. In all the years leading up to Yetzias Mitzrayim, which eventually would culminate with Kabbalas HaTorah, so that was what we call Meichen. That was the first 3 spheres. In other words, that those are the first things that come into play in creating the world, and it's not having the exclusivity, because this creation of a Klal Yisrael didn't really happen yet, because that only happened by Matan Torah. The lead up to it was Yetzias Mitzrayim. How so in Yetzias Mitzrayim? Because Ribono Shel Olam made it that we have to get rid of all the chitzonim, all the bad hashpahs that are around us, that surround us, all day, every day. And that happened through going through all the Yisurim that Klal Yisrael went through in Mitzrayim. And every makkah that came on every person was a nes goli. And the only way a nes goli can come is if there is a tsar preceding it. When there is a tsar, then you have a nes goli to take you out of that tsar. What it is like what we call like a precursor, a preparation for what's going to come. The Makkahs were a lead up to Yetzias Mitzrayim and eventually Kriyas Yamsuf. And these things could only happen if a person was not a Maimon in the Ribono Shel Olam, if he didn't believe in him, if he didn't know that there's going to be an end. So then, how could you live? Doesn't make any sense, life. I mean, it's the same thing today. The reason why we say Zechi Yetzias Mitzrayim every single day 3 times is to enhance our emunah and bitachon, because it's so easy to lose it, because we live in a world of teva, and the Yetzer Hara is always telling us that teva, nature just happened, and we believe in nature, and grass grows on its own, and it rains because it rains, nothing. Rebbeinu Shalom does not play any role in it. Everything that's happening is happening on its own. And that's the Ikka Kayach of Mitzrayim, to make and show you that everything happens al pi teva. And if you look at the kavanas of the Seder, a lot of the kavanas have to do with the name of Elikim. And the name Elikim has what we call a hamtaka, it gets sweetened. And there are many different parts to the Shem Elikim. As you know, Shem Elikim is a gematria Pevav. But there are 3 ways of writing it when you write out the letters, which is what we call a milui. It could be written with the hey in the middle, could be written hey aleph, hey yud, or hey hey. And each one is representing a different midah. So, therefore, since everything is represented through the Shem Elikim, and Shem Elikim is really the Shem of Maaseh Bereishis, so we are taking that Shem Elikim of Maaseh Bereishis and we are sweetening it in order to make Pesach, and in order to have Pesach, it'll have to come out only through 100% emunah bitachon. We have to attach ourselves. We have to see everything that happens in life that a person goes through, whether it be the good times or the bad times. There is an exact cheshbon. There's not one extra second, there's not one extra breath, and there's not one anything that's happening to anybody in the whole world, unless the Rebbeinu Shalom made it happen. There is no blade of grass growing without Rebbeinu Shalom saying, you blade of grass should grow. Nothing but nothing happens on its own whatsoever. The reason that you see that we need Zeichel Yetzias Mitzrayim 3 times a day is to enhance our emunah bitachon, and it's so easy to lose track of it. And since we know that Pesach night is called the Leda of Klal Yisrael, that's when we're born, where the world was created by Maaseh Bereishis, but Klal Yisrael came about through Yetzias Mitzrayim. That's our exclusivity. That's like a part of HaChodesh Hazeh Lachem Rosh Chodashim. In order to appreciate our exclusivity, that we are the Am HaNivchar, we are the children of the Rebbeinu Shalom. So we have to say, when we have a problem, when a child has a problem, what does he do? He goes, Abba, please help me, or Mommy, help me, right? Who is he going to turn to? He's going to turn to the one who nurtured him through his whole life up until this point. So too, who nurtured us, who gave us breath, who gave us life, is the Rebbeinu Shalom. And he wants us to ask him for more. Because by us asking him for more, we can recognize and appreciate everything that we got until now. And just that lesson. Pesach is one of the most outstanding times. I could literally say 25 shiurim now, but I don't know if anybody will be interested in it, so I won't bother to say all of them. But just to give a little tidbit, as if you look at the Kavanis and the Arizal, we have to go through stages, just like when a baby is born, it has to go through stages. It first has to be born, and then it has 2 years of nursing, and then when he's 5 years old, he learns Chumash, and then when he's 9 years old, he's learning Mishnayos already, and then by his Bar Mitzvah, then he becomes a Gadol, right? So you go through 2 madregas of Katnus Rishon, Katnus Sheni, which is when he's still a child, and those are considered Midas Hadin, because he has no defense mechanism to take away all the bad. He doesn't understand how to get rid of all the chitzayim that want to attach themselves to him. And then there's what we call a godless sheni, a godless rishon, and a godless sheni. Godless rishon is from when he turns bar mitzvah till he turns 20. When he turns 20, that's called godless sheni, and that's when a person is a mature adult. What I wanted to show from these 2 things is that the whole avodah of Pesach is to be mamtik the din, to sweeten the din. And if you take the word cotton twice, and the word gadol twice, all 4, because you have 2 katnas and 2 gadlas, all together is gematria the word davash. And davash means to sweeten. Similar to that, we see on Rosh Hashanah, we dip the apple dafka in honey, because honey has a koyach to sweeten something that is not so sweet. And the other mashal is, as you know, there's the Eretz Zovas, Cholav, Udvash. Why are those two things only flowing from Eretz Yisrael? Because Cholav comes from Dam. When the mother, instead of having a Dam Nida, so that Dam Nida turns into Cholav when she's nursing a baby. So that's what we call a Hamtaka. Right? It sweetened it. It turned it from red, which is Din, to white, which is Chesed. So too, the Dvash is coming from, if you're learning that it's coming from Dvash Dvairim, Dvash Dvairim is a sheretz, and it could do hezek to a person, it could sting you, and you're taking that sheretz and he's making the sweetest thing in the world. It's also what we call a hamtaka, which is why Eretz Yisrael has dafka those two things, because those two things are giving us the ability, and that's what Eretz Yisrael is doing, the ability to sweeten din. And that is an unbelievable thing, that it can happen almost on its own, and therefore every person going into Pesach is sur meira, get rid of all the chametz, and get into all the matzah. And just to say one other quick word, as you know, that the difference between chametz and matzah is a little crack in the ches. When the ches opens up, it turns into a hay. So the ches of the chametz becomes a hay of matzah. The other two ices don't change. And the other letter that is similar to that is the ice mem. When you have a regular mem, what we call a mem psucha, it has a little crack of an opening. When it's a mem stuma, right, so then there's no opening in it. So the point is, so you have the ches, which can be interchanged. Then you also have a mem, which if the mem is a mem stuma, so then there's no opening, there's no way that you could be open to hear more things and do more mitzvahs. When it's open, the mem is open, so then you have the ability to do much more. On that note, we should all have Chag Sameach, and we should all rise up to understand Leil Shemurim, the greatness of it, how it's so special that there's no mazikim coming that night. And then there's the Arizal goes into a whole maracha, which I may do on another stage, on how everything is geared towards us getting closer to the Rebbeinu Shalom.